Hey there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Melissa Miller. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Southern California. And today I wanted to make a really quick card using our Grassy Grove stamp set and the Grove dies. Now these came together really quick. You can probably do this card in 15 minutes or less. I think the only thing that takes any time is the stamping and then putting the dimensionals behind our die cut here. So let's take a look at this. Everything that we're using today, the Grassy Grove stamp set and dies and the paper are in our new mini catalog. And in this stamp set, you get 4 sentiments and 5 images there. I just love this. Sometimes you need to know that someone really cares, that someone is me. And then you get 10 dies. And in this die set, you get a larger deer, which will cut out the deer on the stamp set. And you get this littler one that we are using today. You get this large image here, which cut out our background of our trees that we're going to make into like the shadow box type. So we'll be using that. But then you also get dies that cut out all the images here except for the sentiments, which is really nice. Now, of course, our stamp set is at 90%, but like this die here will cut out your little hilly area. And then you've got dies that will cut out the trees and this little kind of brush area. So it's really nice. And then our paper, which just made this card even more convenient, is called New Horizons. Now this is a 6x6 pack. You get 12 double-sided designs and they've got the coordinating colors on here. So you can always match everything. This is the piece I used on one of our cards today. And it's really nice. They're backgrounds and they're watercolor. Look. And they just make everything so simple. I love that one. And you get 4 pieces for each design. So you get a total of 48. And they are double-sided. So it's really nice. You can make some nice, I love this one too. I want to use that one. It's like, in my mind, they're not really mountains, but I kind of see this as like a house and maybe another house. So I can't wait to use those pages. But it's really nice. It takes the hard work out of making a background. So let's go ahead and start with our die cut piece. Let's stamp our sentiment first. And I've got it all set up in my Stamparatus, and we will be heat embossing this. So I've started with a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 because I wasn't real sure where I wanted to place the die on here, but I knew I wanted my sentiment up at the top. So let's bring in our Versamark, our embossing powder, and our embossing buddy, our little bag of powder here. You always want to use that every time you emboss on dark colored paper. And I don't run it across the paper because that can kind of like leave streaks on your paper. I just kind of tap it on there. And then we'll take our Versamark and we will ink up our sentiment here. Let's get that white embossing powder open. And we're just going to stamp that down. And this is a really nice, crisp sentiment. And when you heat emboss this, it just comes out wonderful. I was really happy with how that came out on the dark green paper. So for my green, I'm using Evening Evergreen. And then my layering piece behind that, I used Soft Seafoam. So let's go ahead and get our powder on here. And see how nice that looks? Wait till we get it heated up. That came out really good. And if you have any extra little speckles of embossing powder on there, you can always just take a little paintbrush and wipe them off. Dry paintbrush. So let's go ahead and heat emboss this. And it's that simple. As soon as that powder turns shiny, you know that it's done. I just love that. Now give that a second to dry though before you wipe it off with your microfiber towel, because that powder is still warm. So in the meantime, let's move this. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little down this morning. I've been watching way too much news, and I am just feeling very sad. So we're just gonna push on through here and make a really nice card to send to someone. Okay, so that's cooled off, and we are going to just take our microfiber towel and we can clean that extra powder off of there, and it's perfect. Okay, so now we are going to bring in this die, but first I need to get my, and we're just gonna kind of line it up right around that sentiment. But let me bring in my big cut and emboss machine. I'm hoping I don't shake the table too terribly much. But what we're going to do here is we're just going to line it up. And I have to say, I did do my drawing from my last video, from the Friendly Hello video. And my winner was Kathleen Thompson. Kathleen, please send me an email to handmadehugsbymelissa@gmail.com, and I will get your card out to you, and plus a couple other cards. And thank you so much for watching and commenting. I really appreciate that. So I'm hoping you can see this. What I'm doing is I'm just kind of lining up this die around my sentiment, and I want to make sure that the bottom is sort of straight, semi-straight. It doesn't have to be absolutely straight because we are going to trim it, but you should try to get it as straight as you can. We're just going to put our plate on there, run this through, and I'm hoping I don't shake the table too much. And I am going to bring it back again because I think I might have just knocked my camera. I am going to bring it back again because these are some pretty delicate little pieces in there, and I just want to make sure that they all get popped out. And it looks like we're going to be pretty good there. So let's go ahead and start popping these out. I can get rid of my machine here. This die was just a little bit too big for the mini cut and emboss, so we had to use our bigger machine. And I can just take my little pokey tool here, and we can poke out the rest of those pieces that didn't automatically drop out. But anyways, back to Kathleen. Kathleen, thank you so much for watching. Kathleen Thompson is my winner from my Friendly Hello video. I appreciate everybody watching, and if you don't already have a demonstrator, please just send me an email and I can get a catalog out to you. If you've ever thought about joining Stampin' Up, you do get a pretty good discount being a demonstrator. You can be a hobby demonstrator, or you can do it to try to earn a little bit of extra money. That's totally up to you. Okay, so see how easily all those little pieces popped out? I just love that. So let's go ahead and get these out of here. And so what we need to do now is we're just going to trim this down a little bit. I need to trim it down to 4 by 5 1/4. So I am going to bring in my little trimmer here. And just by looking at it, I can tell that there's a little bit more space over here than on the right side. So I'm going to trim that left side first. And I'm doing this so I can put a layer behind it. My layering piece will be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. There we go. Let's go with that, because I want that nice border behind this piece. So now what we need to do is, I did this two ways. On this one, you can see more of a shadow in there. I used our foam adhesive strips, and these are pretty thick. I mean, they're not overly thick, but they are nice and thick to give some good dimension. And I really, really like the shadow on here, but I'm hoping if I turn that, you can see maybe that when you look at it, you can see the white foam under there. So this one, I used our black Stampin dimensionals, and it doesn't raise it up very much, but I like the look better because I can't see the white foam. So what we are going to do here is we are going to use our black dimensionals, but not necessarily the dimensionals. What I do here is, because I need strips, I'm using the edge. You know, after you use up all your dimensionals out of there, you have the border around there. Well, don't waste that, because you can use that for things like this. You just cut it in a nice strip, and then you can put it all the way down the whole body of the base there, and it's perfect. That way you get some strips, and you don't have to line the whole thing with individual dimensionals, and it just makes everything so simple. So use that up. Don't waste that. Don't throw that away. So what I'm going to do here is we're just going to continue to add our foam dimensionals all around here, but I've already got one pre-prepped because I didn't want to take up too much time. So here's the one that I've already done, and I've already got my backings off, so we don't waste too much time. It's kind of sticking to me, but you can see what I did there. I just added my dimensionals in all the little areas that I thought it would need something to raise it up a little bit. And then I took my piece, whichever piece from the paper pack that we want to use, and I just kind of placed it in different, you know, random areas so I could see which look I was going to get. And I have pre-cut that. I've trimmed that out, and this is actually a smidge smaller than 4 and 5 1/4 because I don't want it to overhang our green piece here. I want to make sure that it's hidden behind there. So you can just take that, get it nice and centered on your grid paper, and then when you lay this just right on top, it's perfect. It's not bigger than your green piece. So that's perfect there. And then I did cut out a couple deer. And what I did here was I have one turned over. Okay, so I've got my, you know, I think it might have fallen on the floor. I've got my 2 little deer, but because I want them kind of looking at each other, I am going to flip this one over, and you can see the outline from the die. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my bone folder here, and I'm just going to press down on this little image, and it will take those marks out. Or if you want to, you can always run it through your cut and emboss machine. You know, just put it in there by itself between the plates, and that will also remove those little lines around it. So now he's nice and perfect. So we are going to add our deer, and I am just going to bring in some tweezers to hold him because he is pretty delicate. And I don't want to get glue all over my fingers. And it looks like we may have a little overrun here. There we go. So just put a couple little dots on there. You don't need a whole lot. I just like to make sure I get the bottom of their feet because it will dry clear. So that's pretty good. So we're going to stick this one down in here, just like that. Perfect. And I want him to kind of look up a little bit. There we go. Now let's take our other little deer, add some glue to him. And we're going to put him right here. Perfect. Now we've got our two little deer in there. So we can go ahead and take our layering piece, which is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and just pop that on there. I feel bad when I wait, when I turn this over to glue it down, because I see how pretty the other side of that patterned paper was. And it's like, oh, I could have really used that on something. But, that's how it works out. You've got to decide which side you like best. There we go. And we can move that a smidge if we need to. Nice and centered. And for my card base, I am using Evening Evergreen. So let's go ahead and just put this on there. And I did stamp my inside, so we're going to go ahead and do that after we get this on there. So for my inside piece, it is at 4 5 1/4, just so we have, a light piece of paper to write our message on. But so on the outside, we've got, sometimes you need to know that someone really cares. And on the inside, we are going to put that someone is me. And then I've also added a couple trees here. So that is going to liven up the inside a little bit. I've got too many tools going on here. So for this, I brought in my Evening Evergreen stamp pad. And we are going to just ink up these images. Get a good layer of ink on there. I did ink these twice because my pad is getting a little dry. I do need to re-ink it. So we're just going to give a little bit of pressure on there. Maybe a little more. I think I was being too gentle. Okay, so let's ink that up one more time. And then you still have plenty of room for your sentiment or your handwritten message, which is really nice. Just kind of give a little bit of pressure there. All right, I think that is pretty good. I just love that these sentiments in this stamp set are so dainty. I don't know if I want to say dainty, but I love the fine lines. They're not real bold. And that is just so pretty to me. Okay, so let's get this out of here. We will glue this on the inside of our card. And then we'll wrap it up. We can add our jewels on there. I did use the 21-23 in color jewels. All right, put our inside layering piece on there. And this is different for me. I don't usually do my card bases in dark colors, but I really like this. This came out nice. And there you have it, almost done. Almost, I forgot to do our jewels. So let's bring in our in colors. And because you can kind of see that yellow in the background for the light sky, and then you've got the blue, I'm going to go ahead and use my yellow ones. Let's bring in our little pick here. We're going to add some of these, just scatter them. You can put them wherever it is pleasing for your eye. Let's put another large one down here, and then 2 more little ones. How about right here? And I love the way the yellow jewels look on that green paper. It really just adds something. And there we go. That is all done. Here I've got a couple, well, you already saw this one with the foam strips on there. That's a different piece of designer series paper. And this one, it was really pretty. I thought that kind of gave me an image of like a body of water. And then the trees, maybe it's foggy outside. I just love these dies. So I hope you like this video. Please like and comment. And Kathleen Thompson, don't forget to send me an email to handmadehugs@melissa@gmail.com. I will get your friendly hello card out to you and a couple others. I appreciate you spending time with me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.